Hello, my name is Frank Christensen, and I'm the coordinator of officials for IFAF in Europe. This is the 5th of 6 training tapes dealing with false start. Today we're looking specifically at running backs in the offensive backfield. The running back false starting typically looks a lot different than, for example, the quarterback if he false starts in the backfield. So we'll have a look at some examples of what that looks like, how much is enough, and when we shouldn't call it. And we'll look at mechanics and philosophy in terms of how we want to handle this and who we want to handle this. But before we get to the game film, let's have a look in the rulebook and the MoFo to see what they have to say on this topic. In the rulebook, we go to Rule 712 dealing with false start. Each of the following is a false start by Team A if it occurs prior to the snap, after the ball is ready for play, and all players are in scrimmage formation. 1. Any movement by one or more players that simulates the start of a play. 2. The snapper moving to another position. And 3. A restricted lineman according to Rule 227.4, moving his hand or making any quick movement. As for the exceptions, 1. A. It is not a false start if a Team A lineman immediately reacts when threatened by a Team B player in the neutral zone. B. It is not a false start if the snapper takes his hand off the ball, provided this does not simulate the start of a play. And then 4, it is also a false start when an offensive player makes a quick, jerky movement before the snap, included but not limited to A. A lineman moving his foot, shoulder, arm, body, or neck in a quick, jerky motion in any direction. B. The snapper shifting or moving the ball, moving his thumb or fingers, flexing his elbows, jerking his head, or dipping his shoulders or buttocks. C. The quarterback making any quick, jerky movement that simulates the beginning of a play. And D. A back simulating receiving the ball by making any quick, jerky movement that simulates the beginning of the play. And finally, 5. The offensive team never coming to a 1-second stop prior to the snap after the ball is ready for play. This is an illegal shift that converts to a false start. In the MoFo, we go to section 3.2 definitions. Examples of conspicuous fouls that should be called, even though they might otherwise be disregarded as not serious, include F. False starts by a back, tight end, or receiver. In section 3.3 non-contact fouls, false start says, movement by an offensive player is not a false start unless either 1. He moves one or both feet, 2. It is sudden, or 3. It causes a defensive player to move in reaction. If a running back misses the snap count, makes a sudden movement, and then stops abruptly, it is a false start. If he was generally going into motion, he wouldn't stop. And finally, if in doubt as to whether movement was prior to the snap or not, it was not. Don't be picky on this. Now, let's have a look at some game film. In the first couple of examples, we're going to look at movement that is not enough for a false start. So here the running back is just going to make a little adjustment there. That is not the kind of flinch or jerky movement or a simulated start of the play that we're looking for in a false start. So this movement right there is just an adjustment. It's pretty close to the snap, but it's not what we're looking for in a false start. On this play, the running back doesn't really move as much as he just kind of leans forward a little bit before the snap. But really, this is not enough for us to call a false start. Certainly could be a talk to and let the running back know that, hey, make sure you don't lean forward before the snap. But at most, this is not what we're looking for in a false start either. as opposed to the plays that we're getting into from now on. If we look at this running back, he simply just misses the snap count, and he jumps too early right there. This is the start of the play for him, and it's just before the ball is snapped. So this is not going into motion. This is way too abrupt. This is a flinch or jerky movement, and certainly too abrupt for us not to call it. And this is what we're looking for in a false start in a running back. Here we're looking at the fullback. There are actually two running backs here, and the fullback is going to do a lean, but the lean is it turns into a little step there right before the snap. So this is more than the lean we saw before, and this is too much for us to ignore or handle with the talk to. And here we have a good situation, or a good example of why it's important for the wing, or for the backfield officials to focus primarily in the backfield pre-snap. If this referee is looking at the line of scrimmage, or the tackle that he may be responsible for after the snap, if it turns into a pass play, then we're likely to miss these types of small flinches in the backfield. So keep your primary focus at least in the backfield, and we will notice and catch these types of false starts by the running back. On this play, we're looking at the movement by the tailback here, the running back, and again, it's just a lean, but it just gets a little bit too big, and we almost get a step there before the snap or the ball is snapped. So this is too much to let go. And again, good reminder of why, as both the referee and the center judge, to keep your focus in the backfield. So that we catch this, and we have the end zone shot where we can see pretty much what they see. So here's the end zone shot, and here you can clearly see that he starts leaning towards that left side, and his heel actually even lifts off the turf before the ball is snapped. So again, this is big enough that we want to call it, and a good indicator or a good example of why it's important to keep your primary focus in the backfield as referee, center judge, because if you're looking at your tackle or anything else, you may miss this because it's not a flinch, it's not an abrupt movement. In this last example, we're going to see another running back who just mistimes the snap. So he moves up because he thinks here the ball is going to be snapped. Again, this is not the start of a motion. This is way too abrupt in a flinchy or jerky movement, and this is one that we need to call, and I'm glad we caught it here. So that was the training tape. I hope it makes sense, and I hope you found something you can use on the field.